Is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good morning, everyone. Scott Earhart here with Insurance Agency Marketing Services. I do want to thank you all very, very much for taking the time to join us today. Very exciting webinar today. We are going to look at Athene's enhanced product portfolio. They have recently brought in some new strategies, enhanced some products, introduced some new MIGAs. We're very, very excited about it, as I'm sure you've heard about from our staff and throughout the industry. Very, very exciting time right now. To go through this, we have Mr. Matt Campbell, Regional Vice President, I believe that's his title, with Athene. Matt, can you hear us?
And Scott, thanks again for having me.
Fantastic. Mac, I will hand it over to Mac here in just a minute, but before I give Mac control, I do want to go through a few promotional slides and a couple of housekeeping items. First housekeeping item, our phone number is there on your screen. That number is 800-255-5055. If there's anything that we can be doing to earn your business in the life or fixed annuity markets, please don't hesitate to give a call. We absolutely would love the opportunity to be working with you. We do have a questions box on your screen. Should you have any questions throughout the presentation today, please type them in. At the end of the presentation, I will go through those with Mac. We'll do the best we can to answer those while we are live and in session. If we don't get it answered in a detailed enough fashion, we will be calling individuals to follow up later today and tomorrow. You should be receiving a call from myself as well as the internals at Athene, either Rob Johnson or Sam Wiss. So if we don't get your questions answered, please feel free to ask when we do call to follow up. We certainly want to make sure everything's as clear as possible. Final housekeeping item is throughout the presentation, I will launch a poll or two. If you would, please take the time to just click yes or no and participate in that polling. We certainly do appreciate everyone's participation there. That being said, let's get into a couple of slides here before we hand it over to Mac. First slide is our Life and Annuity Academy. And as I talk about our Life and Annuity Academy, I will launch our first polling question of the day, simply asking you if you'd be interested in receiving more information about our Life and Annuity Academies. This isn't a registration. It isn't a commitment on your behalf, just simply getting you onto an interested parties list. Well, our next academy is going to be in July, and we are actually going to partner with Athene for it. So I'm very excited about that. They do a great job at their home office there in Des Moines. Fantastic facility to do this in. We will bring in our sales staff from the office here, myself, Mark Raymakers, our life director, Matt Neal, our creative director. Of course, our executive and ownership team will be there, Steve Murray and Charles Hiring. One of the nice things about working with IAMS is you truly do have access to the decision makers here. You will get to know Steve and Charles on a first name basis, and they absolutely want to know you. So it makes us very unique and very powerful. Also, we will, of course, bring in some individuals from Athene. Mac, I'm sure, will be there. They do a great job bringing in actuaries, bringing in compliance officers. A lot of times we do hear from some of their executive teams, so they do a great job. When we first started doing Life and Annuity Academies and partnering with carriers, one of the things that we brought to carriers is we said, we want to do this, but we don't want you to just do a dog and pony show on why your product's great. We want you to actually show us how to implement that product, show our producers how to utilize that product in their day-to-day practices. And I think Athene probably does as good, if not better job than anybody else in the industry at showing you how to implement their products into your daily practice. So that is very, very valuable. Now, what I find to be the most valuable about the Life and Annuity Academies is we will bring in at least 4 of our sales coaches from around the country. In order to be a sales coach for IAMS, you have to be a multiple top producer qualifier. So what these gentlemen will do is stand in front of you and show you what they do in their businesses every day to make them a top producer and allow you to utilize their same techniques and their same marketing. It's an invaluable asset. Of course, we will also give time for networking so you can meet other producers from around the country to learn about what's working for them, possibly share what's working for you, and really get creative and talk about ways to build your business. With that being said, I guess before I move on, Mac, anything you'd like to add about the upcoming Academy?
No, Scott, I think you did a great job outlining what we try to accomplish, and just to kind of reiterate what Scott had said a minute ago. We make sure that we take advantage of your time while we have you. We know it's a sacrifice for you to take a day or two out of your schedules to learn, and again, we take advantage of that. So look forward to having you there. If you've not been to one before, I'd highly recommend you sign up for one. Thanks, Scott.
Hey, thank you, Mac. We look forward to spending some time with you there in July. That being said, I'm going to go ahead and close down this poll. So if you haven't taken the time to just click yes or no, if you would do so, we certainly appreciate everyone's participation there. Okay, that poll is now closed. Thank you, everyone. Moving on, another promotion that we're doing with Athene, and I'm really excited about this. This is our third annual IMS Athene co-sponsored production trip. We will be going to Las Vegas. We will be staying at the Four Seasons Mandalay Bay. I don't have the dates in front of me, but I'm thinking it is late February, early March when we'll be out there. So be a really nice time to be out in a desert type climate. Only 125,000 in or 1.25 million, sorry, in production will qualify you for this trip. If you produce 1.75, that will get you and a guest on this trip. In the past, we've been to Lake Tahoe and we've been to Trump National Doral, and it has been fantastic. Stephen Charles and the Athene team, when it comes to travel and incentives, they spare no expense. So this will be a 5-star trip all the way around. We're going to play some of the best golf courses in Las Vegas and the surrounding area. There will be plenty of time to gamble, to go to shows. We'll have some great meals. Just a fantastic, fantastic trip. So if you'd like to know where you stand, or if you'd like to know what we could do to help you get over that 1.25 million threshold, certainly let us know. We'd love to have that conversation. And I think you're going to be incredibly pleased with the products that you're going to see in a little bit and how Athene wants you to qualify for this trip. So absolutely, absolutely looking forward to that. For those of you who are new to us, or if this is your first introduction to insurance agency marketing services, this is our new producer bonus. It is based on your production within your first 180 days of being licensed with us, and you can cash in at any one of these 3 levels. As you can see, we've got great rewards at each level. Cash bonuses, business building tools, personal rewards, all available to you. Certainly, if you'd like to know where you stand for new producer bonus, or if you'd like to have a conversation about what we can do to help you make the step up to the next level, please give us a call at 800-255-5055. We certainly want to help you take advantage of new producer bonus. I mentioned Matt Neal's name earlier. He is the head of our creative team, and a really, really unique perk about working with insurance agency marketing services is we do have an in-house creative team that is here to help you develop your brand and market your practice. We can do everything from very, very basic marketing, logo design, letterheads, things of that nature, all the way up to full-out television advertisement. We can help you coordinate that. We can help you distribute it. Matt does a great job, and his team are all very, very talented. What I tell you is if you're a licensed agent, we don't make money on our creative services. We certainly are not trying to charge you a fee to grow your business. We want to partner with you to do that. So go out and talk to your local advertising agency or a PR firm or a graphic designer and see what it would cost you. Give Matt a call and compare what we could do it, how we could do it for you. You'll find you'll save a lot of money and the quality will be there. They're absolutely, absolutely something to be taken advantage of. If you have any questions about the creative services, please let me know or give Matt Neal in our office a call. You can just call in, ask for Matt Neal, and we'll get you transferred right over to him. He is here in-house with us. So that being said, take advantage of creative services. Our website is available, imsinc.com. Please check us out. There's a lot of things there that are going to help you. Annuity quote engine, forms online, industry links, our current life and annuity news grid, our current product grid is out there as well. So please, if you're not registered at imsinc.com, go out there today, sign up with your email and just some very basic info. We want to have you take advantage of our website. Top producers escape. It's scary to say that we are quickly approaching the end of qualification. June 30th is right around the corner. We will be going to the Fairmont Empress in Victoria, British Columbia, Canada. For anyone who's ever been to Victoria will tell you it's one of the most beautiful and picturesque places in the entire world. Very excited about that. There will be great shopping. There will be great golf. There will be great excursions, great meals, great fellowship, great just a great time to be together as a group. And you will see, I'm sure there are many trip qualifiers on here, but for those of you who are on the cusp or maybe a first-time qualifier, you will see and learn what we mean when we say the IMES family. Steve and Charles truly think of all of our producers as family, and they spare no expense in creating this experience. And Lisa Hiring and her team do a great job of making sure you have no worries while you are on our excursions. So if you'd like to know where you stand for trip qualification, or if you want to have a conversation about what we could do to help you get over the top of that $2 million trip or that 2 million trip credit threshold, please let us know. We want you there. This will be our largest top producers escape of all time, and we certainly want to just blow the doors off of it and have as many attendees as possible. That being said, before I hand it over to Mac, I do want to point out one thing about your Athene Premium. You're about to see an amazing product lineup, in my opinion, probably the most competitive lineup or suite of products in the market today available from Athene. Every dollar you place with Athene through insurance agency marketing services will qualify you for 3 trips: the Caddies and Casinos, the Top Producers Escape, as well as Athene's Leaders of Olympus trip. I'm sure Mac will hit on it, but they are going to Prague in 2017, so that's going to be a fantastic trip. Also, that same premium qualifies for marketing reimbursement through IMES and helps you towards your care credits with Athene. Right now, I can't think of a company that has more incentives to write their products and has better products than what Athene will offer you right now. So please join me in welcoming Mac. Mac, I'm going to hand this over to you, and really excited to see what you have to show us today.
Great. Thanks, Scott. And if you would, just as always, just when I have it up and running here, if you could just verify that you see the slide and hear my voice okay?
I see the slide and I hear your voice, sir.
Great. Thanks again, Scott. And as always, great introduction there on all the benefits and services that your firm brings to the table to the producers on the call here. Just a top-rate organization when it comes to the IMO space. I've been in the business for the better part of 20 years, working with IMOs around the country, and IMES is among the best at it. So keep that in mind. If you're working with them already, you already know that. If you're not working with them, absolutely give them a look. What I'd like to do is just take the next 30 minutes or so and step through a couple of great developments at Athene. You know, I think if you're familiar at all with our portfolio prior to about a week ago, you know, we do a couple things really well up until that point. We have great accumulation products. We've got some interesting income solutions, but a week ago we launched virtually an entirely new portfolio of both fixed and fixed indexed annuities that nothing short of will lead the market across the board. So excited to bring that to you. You know, we've got essentially 3 new product solutions, which we'll discuss. We've added 2 new indices to some of the existing portfolio, and also as part of the new portfolio as well. And then, of course, one great company, that's Athene. You know, we are committed to this space. All we do is fixed annuities and fixed indexed annuities, and we have plans to be the leader in this space for years to come. So currently rated A-. Hopefully we'll get the A-rated soon. We expect to get that in the near term here, but Again, just a great growth story, and we're hoping to invite all of you on board as well. So we'll get just a quick high-level look at what we'll discuss today, and then we'll dig into these a little deeper. We'll talk about our new Athene Ascent Pro indexed annuity. This really fills a hole in our portfolio. We've had great accumulation products, we've had great participating income products, but we really haven't had a good guaranteed income story for quite a while. I mean, I've got to go back almost 10 years from the income preferred bonus days, the income select series back in those days, or the multi-choice product, where we had a good guaranteed income story, and we do have another good one here to talk to you about today. The Athene Performance Elite, the chassis itself is not changing. This is our fantastic accumulation play. This is not an income play. Straight accumulation, a great liquidity, return of premium. You're probably familiar with that. We are adding, however, 2 new indices to that product, which I'll talk to you about, and I'll share with you how it illustrates as well, which will be near the top, if not the top of the industry. And then lastly, this is the one we're going to start with, actually, because I think it's the simplest one, is another hole in our portfolio is the fixed annuity space. We've not had, since really the old Athene legacy company, Athene Delaware, several years ago had a multi-year guarantee annuity, and we're bringing one into the space here. Not one, but actually 3 of them. And it's one thing to develop a product like a multi-year guarantee. It's another thing to be competitive. We know that this is a very spreadsheet type sale. Ultimately, the carrier with the highest rates typically wins the business. And I'll tell you right now, we would not develop a multi-year guarantee annuity if we didn't think we could compete. So we'll share with you all 3 of those: the Ascent, the Performance Elite, and then again the multi-year guarantee is where we'll start here in a moment. So quite simply, we've got 3 different versions of the multi-year guarantee annuity. We've got a 3-year, a 5-year, and a 7-year product across the board. Again, multi-year guarantees, it's tough to get, I guess, excited about this kind of annuity because there's not a lot of moving parts. They're simple, but that's ultimately what we like about them. And frankly, where else can your clients get 2-3% guaranteed for several years anywhere else in the marketplace? They certainly can't get it at a bank or a CD. So that's what we're looking to get here. This is really our sort of our bank or our CD alternative play. A couple interesting things on our portfolio that I believe sets ours apart from other insurance companies' multi-year guarantee products. You'll see what our rates are in a moment, but ours are actually flexible premium. So unlike much of the marketplace, if your customer has additional premium to add, they can do that. Each additional premium, instead of starting a brand new rolling period of surrender, it actually goes into a 1-year account and earns a separate rate of return. In addition, once your 3, 5, or 7-year period is up, they're 100% walk away. A lot of the multi-year guarantee annuities that I've seen in the business, at least to date, only give you roughly 30, 40 days at the end of each term to decide what to do with the money. And heaven forbid you forget to do that, or your client forgets. What inevitably happens is they get re-upped for an additional 3, 5, or 7-year period. And that's tough. So we don't have that happen to the customers. They can add money, and once their guarantee period has run its course, again, either 3, 5, or 7, they're walk away completely. They're free and clear. They can stay in the product if they want. We'll just automatically renew it on an annual basis at that point, but we're not going to automatically lock them in for another whole term like that. So just a couple of interesting things to see when it comes to our version of a multi-year guarantee annuity. Let's get right to the chase here. We'll talk about the rates. You see there's 2 versions. Most states have either the MVA or the non-MVA version available. There's a few states, however, like New Jersey, for example, and a couple other states that only have the non-MVA version. So just be aware of that. If you know your state is a little difficult for annuities, give the folks at IMS a call or call my team at Athene, and we can let you know what's available for you. Regardless, though, of the version you sell, you've got great rates. You can see on the MVA side, the 3-year is currently at 2%. I believe that leads the market currently. The 5-year is 2.9. That if it doesn't lead the market, it's very close. And again, the 7-year as well may not be number 1, but again, it's probably a close number 2. And again, keep in mind, you might be willing to take a slight haircut in rate to get some of those better client-friendly features like additional premiums. And again, that 100% walk away once that term is done. And then below that, you see just the additional premium strategies. Right now, we're essentially paying the same rate for those as well. So industry-leading multi-year guarantees, very client-friendly, and very liquid as well, 10% available in every year. Here are your issue ages on the 3, 5, and 7. It's 85 on the 3, 83 to the 5 and 7, and obviously these are 1010 compliant across the board. And again, you see the free withdrawal availability there. So very simple, very competitive, and very client-friendly. So again, call the folks at IAMS to get some quotes, and we'd love to see some of your MIGA business if you do write that. We're going to shift gears a little bit. That's the fixed annuity space. Again, we're happy to be in that market again in a competitive way. I'm going to talk a little bit about the 2 new indices that we've added to the portfolio, and then again introduced with the new annuity as well, the Ascent. I'm not going to get too deep into any one of these here, but I do want to kind of explain why we chose them. First, the first one we chose is called the BNP Paribas MAD5 Index, or Multi-Asset Diversified 5 Index. The second one, and this is a name that many of you, if you're in the registered space, will likely know, is the Morningstar Dividend Yield strategy as well. What I'd like to do is kind of share with you why we chose them and then ultimately selected for the portfolio. If you are familiar with our existing portfolio, most, if not all, of our indexed annuities use the S&P 500 in large part to drive the growth. Whether you're choosing a cap strategy or one of our multiple or many uncapped volatility control strategies, up until this point, we largely use the S&P 500 for growth. So I think we could use some diversity. So the first thing we look at when we add a new index to the portfolio, whether we create one ourselves or partner with an investment bank like we have exclusively with these 2 people here at BNP and Morningstar, we look for name brand recognition. Now, while BNP may not be a household name in the United States yet, believe it or not, they are the 3rd largest investment bank in the world. And if you're familiar with tennis at all, they do sponsor the French Open year in and year out. So a great partner there, very well established, and a great international brand. The second one there, I've already said it. Again, if you're in the registered space, you know what Morningstar is. They're one of the most reputable research companies in the business and also a great investment bank as well. So I think we've checked the box there. We've got great name brand recognition for both of these. You know, the second thing we look at is they have to be innovative, and more importantly, they have to complement what we already have in the mix. Now, I mentioned a minute ago, we pretty much only have S&P 500 at this point. These 2 strategies bring great diversity to the portfolio. With the BNP, we've got great asset class and geographical diversity. We've got 3 different asset classes that we could potentially have here. We've got equities, bonds, and commodities, and then 3 different geographies, United States, and again, Japan as well. So we bring great geographic and, again, asset class diversity there to an existing portfolio of S&P 500 positions. The Morningstar is a dividend approach. What we do here is essentially target the top 75 dividend-yielding equities in the market at any given time, bring it through a volatility control, and add that to the client's account. So, again, we've got a dividend index, we've got multiple asset classes and geographies here, and then again, if you like the S&P 500, we are not going away from those. We're just simply adding these 2 to the mix. So we've got great name brand recognition. These are highly complementary to what we already have. And then most important is it has to provide a net customer value. In other words, we didn't choose these indices for what they've done. We chose them for what they will do moving forward. And I think that's important. It's very easy to select an index that looks good on paper. It's something else to select one that actually performs for the client. And I think when you see how these indexes, once we pair them to the products, how competitive they are, it's just a tremendous client opportunity. And as a producer offering this, a great competitive advantage for you as well. So just a quick word here on the BNP, just to kind of solidify the point. A lot going on the top part of this slide, but what I want you to take away is how having a lot of diversity in one strategy, having the ability to reallocate on a daily basis between asset class and geography, how powerful and stable that makes an index. Everyone knows what happened in the equity marketplace in 2008, and you can see that a lot of these lines at the top of the graph there, top chart, just plummeted. However, gold went up quite high, and that's because people love the stability of gold when things go south like that. Notice though the bottom chart in 2008 reflects virtually very little change. In fact, this particular index was up in 2008. So you can see having the ability to go from one asset class to another in different parts of the world allows a lot more stability to enter the marketplace for you. Here's a quick look at how the BNP strategy is done versus the regular S&P 500. You can see they started and effectively have ended at the same place, but a much smoother ride along the way. And at the bottom there, you can see the website there. That's the microsite that we've set up to get some information on the index. Your clients can see that. They can look at the performance. It's very consumer friendly, and actually it's optimized for iPhone and Android use as well. So we'll make sure you all have that link as well. Over to the Morningstar one, the dividend. Dividends indicate that a company has arrived. It implies that the company is well established, it's financially very healthy, and they're willing to take and return cash to the shareholders. Providing a dividend imposes discipline on the executives of the carrier. They're unlikely to be withdrawn on a whim, and it obligates management to take a long-term view of the business. So when we take a look at dividend yielding stocks versus non-dividend yielding stocks over the last 15 years, I think it's no surprise that the dividend paying stocks tend to do better. So that's why we chose Morningstar, and that's frankly why Morningstar chooses dividend paying stocks over non-dividend paying stocks, because they do better. And like the BNP, you can see here, the dark line is what the Morningstar index has done over the last 10 years versus the regular S&P. So again, the starting point and the end point tends to be very similar, but it's a heck of a smoother ride to the client, for you as a producer, and then ultimately to the company, which allows us to provide these with very great rates on the products. So again, that's all I'm going to say on the two new indices for now. If you want to get deeper, I'm happy to engage in a conversation with you individually, or the folks at IMS are. We'll do that as well. I do want to kind of tell you how these look on the portfolio now. So we'll start with the Performance Elite. And again, this is our, in my view, the best straight accumulation indexed annuity in the marketplace today, even without these two new strategies. So here's a quick look at where the rates are today. You can see the first four listed are the ones that you're used to seeing. We've got a cap of 5.25, a traditional cap, if you will, of 5.25 on a 10-year, 6% on the 15-year. You can see that the two new strategies at the bottom are both 2-year point-to-point designs. The participation rate on the BNP strategy on the 10-year product is 130%. That's with no spread right now. 160% on the 15-year product. Now that sounds great, but let me show you how they translate and how this looks on an illustration. Here we've got the 10-year product at the top with 130% participation on the BNP strategy. You can see that the worst 10-year scenario in the last 15 years still yielded over 6.5%. The best, of course, is just short of 9%. The 15-year product with 160% participation rate, the worst this thing is done over the worst 10-year period this is done over the last 15 years is still almost 8%. Now, obviously, we're looking backwards and things could change moving forward, but to me, that's a fantastically priced strategy for a client. That provides real value. And this, keep in mind, as a reminder, this is on a product with a return of premium after the 4th year. So nowhere else in the business will you find an accumulation product with rates like this where you still provide the level of liquidity that the Performance Elite does. 10% immediately, 20% every other year that you don't take one, and then after the 4th year, the client's 100% liquid, return of premium. So just a fantastic value proposition there as well. So that's the Performance Elite. That's what the two new indices do to that product. It basically takes a great product and makes it even better, if you can believe that. Now we're going to close with, I believe, probably the most exciting part of the launch, and that is the introduction of the Athene Ascent Pro series of indexed annuities with the associated income riders that you have available there. And there's 2 riders you can choose from. So we're going to take this into 2 parts. We're going to take a look at deferral first, and then we'll switch gears and talk about taking income from the policy as well. A lot of products you're looking at right now. Don't want you to digest all of it this moment. Know that there's a few state variations, but generally speaking, nationwide, we've launched 4 new indexed annuities. We have a 5-year, a 7-year, a 10-year non-bonus, and a 10-year bonus annuity. States like Jersey and PA and Florida have their own state-specific versions you see there as well. But one thing I want to point out, if anyone is registered or part of a broker-dealer, the 5, the 7, and the 10 non-bonus, if you look at the bottom here with the withdrawal charges, they're all 1010 compliant. So these should be able to get approved in most every broker-dealer in the marketplace today. The one product that's not 1010 is the bonus product, and that's 1210, still just a 10-year surrender charge. So now if you take nothing else away from this webcast today, what I want you to take away from is this. Effective launch day, which was about a week ago, Athene is now #1 in guaranteed and stacked income. Regardless of which version of this rider you choose, guaranteed or non-guaranteed, we will be #1 in the business for the foreseeable future. That's exciting to say, and I think it's exciting to illustrate as well. So if you're selling guaranteed roll-ups, and we know there's a couple of carriers that have been very competitive in that space, please let us run you an illustration. I think will blow you away. Alternatively, if you're selling participating income or stacked income as it's often referred to, again, there's a few carriers that do that well as well. Please let us illustrate it for you. I think, again, we'll really open your eyes. So that's the big takeaway. We're #1 in income, which is again, a lot of fun to talk about. Once you choose to take income, or your client does, we've got several options for them, which we'll get to in a minute. We also have some additional enhanced features that we can chat about. Some you're used to seeing, like our income doubler for confinement. We have a few new ones as well I want to share with you that are very important. So again, we're going to talk about deferral first. Now, once you decide to sell this product, the Ascent series, the income riders can be added to either the 7-year or either of the 10-year versions, not the 5-year. It is a good short-term accumulation play, not really an income play. So just for what it's worth, the 7-year and the 10-year products are what you can add the riders to. Depending on the customer you're dealing with is, I think, ultimately going to determine which one of these you sell. At issue, you've got to decide which rider is more appropriate for your client. Option 1 is our straight guaranteed income rider that accrues 10% simple for the first 10 years, 5% simple for the second 10 years. Or option 2 is our stacked rider. Now we're going to talk predominantly about the 10-year version, or the 10-year bonus, just because that's, I think, what most people will sell. Despite the fact that option 2 is a stacked or participating rider, the client still gets 6% simple guaranteed for 2 decades. On top of that, any performance that their index gives to them in a given contract year, we will take 200% participation on top of that. So we'll double it, and that goes on top of the simple interest they've already earned. So just an amazing way to really enhance their growth for income if clients are okay with using indexing to help that out. For those that aren't, they can just simply use the guaranteed one and be top of the market there as well. On the bonus product, the 10-year bonus, in addition to the roll-up rates we just discussed, and as well as the participation rate we discussed on the stacking one, right out of the gate they get a 15% income multiplier to help enhance things as well. So said another way, if we're choosing option 1, at the end of 1 year, let's say the client gives you $100,000, they're going to get 15% in an income bonus immediately, and then at the end of that first year, they've got an additional 10% simple they've earned. So at the end of the first year, they're at 125% of where they started for income, guaranteed. Very powerful. Here's just a graphical look at how that works. You can see right out of the gate, we've got that 15% income that gooses their dollar amount for income purposes from 100 to 115, and then again, it accrues at 10% simple for the first 10 years. Just to show you how flexibly competitive this rider is, regardless of issue age, Athene wins on the guaranteed income sale in any issue age through deferral through 15 years. So here you have a couple of instances where we've got a 50-year-old, 55-year-old in the second column there, or second row, a 5-year deferral, then again a 10-year deferral. All of those income quotes that we are showing you on this slide represent the #1 in the marketplace today. So if you've sold a guaranteed income in the past, again, please let us illustrate one for you. I think we'll help you win a lot of business. Here's a quick look at where the business looks competitively relative to what we just talked about. Before we launched this series, there was basically 3, maybe 4 insurance companies that were really in this market, and we've changed their names to protect the innocent, if you will. But we've put their product designs there. We've got one with a 14-year withdrawal period and then 2 10-year periods. You can see regardless of deferral, here's a 5-year and a 10-year. We're number 1 across the board. So again, I think the message has been hopefully heard loud and clear. We're back in the guaranteed income space in a major way. So that's the guaranteed side. The non-guaranteed side, option 2, is for the client that likes the idea of letting the index go to work for them. So they're going to take a little less money out of the gate, so their guarantee is not as high. Again, 6% versus 10 on the guaranteed one. But look at what they're getting potentially in return. Now remember, I mentioned to you that they're still getting a guarantee of 6% simple for 20 years here, and you can see that's reflected here on this bottom line, this purple line at the bottom. But using our 200% participation in the BNP strategy, the worst this has done over the last 13 or 15 years, I believe, still would churn out $50 of income across the board. The average it has done over the last 15 years, and we simulate buying a policy every day for 15 years, this still kicks out income of over $16,700 a year. Again, it's illustrated, but we've done great back testing and very responsible illustrating, I believe. And still the worst case is still near the top of the guaranteed marketplace as well, of $10,200. So if you know me at all, you know that I'm somewhat of a pessimist when it comes to stuff like this. I love selling on guarantees. I love selling on worst case scenarios because you're likely going to underpromise and overdeliver in those scenarios. And I think this product will do that all day long. So again, your client has to choose at issue, do I want the guaranteed rider, which is option 1, or the stacked rider, which is option 2. And here again is just a couple of different ages and payout scenarios to show you how competitive we are there as well. The worst case, the average, and again, the best case there. So up until this point, we've discussed deferring while we're waiting for the income to accrue. Either it's guaranteed or potentially stacking. Once the client down the road decides to trigger the income, they've got a couple of choices. They can choose a level income that will be level for the rest of their life. They can choose an inflation-adjusted income that is based on the CPI Urban Index, or they can choose an earnings-indexed option. Now, this is the new one for us, and I believe most instances the client's either going to choose a level payout or an earnings-indexed payout. What the earnings-indexed payout does is let them use their indexing to further enhance their growth. Quite simply, if they're getting $10,000 a year in income, the next year they earn 5%. We're going to grow that $10,000 by 5%, and that becomes their new low point for the next year. And that just keeps happening every time there's indexed growth. Here's just a quick side-by-side comparison. Here we're assuming that a client that was 55 years old purchased an annuity with $100,000 and waited 10 years. So at this point, you see at their age of 66, they've got some choices. They can choose a guaranteed level income forever of $10,750, or the non-guaranteed earnings indexed. There is a slight haircut to that. So roughly 65 basis points less in payout percentage means that right out of the gate they're earning just over $9,300. But inside of 4 to 5 years, you can see that the non-guaranteed side quickly outpaces what they would have received on the level side. If you go at 18 years in this example, instead of the same $10,700 they were getting, they could potentially be receiving almost $18,500, which is almost double what the level payment would have been. I love the earnings indexed version because it still has a good guarantee associated with it. And again, I believe that the market, more often than not, is up more than it's down. Why not let that go to work for your client and enhance their income? It's almost like building in an inflation hedge, letting the market do what it's been designed to do over the last several decades. So that's the income level, inflation, or again that new earnings indexed version. A couple enhanced features we'll discuss. Not going to spend a ton of time here. Just know that we've got a minimum interest credit attached to either one of the annuities, the 5, 7, or 10-year. Basically, if the client, I think this is more meaningful for the short-term products. If the client in the 5 or 7, for instance, year product experienced no growth, we're going to make sure that they walk away with at least 1% annual during the duration of the charges. So if they give you 100, 7 years later they haven't earned anything, we're going to make sure they walk away with 107. If it's a 10-year product, they'll walk away with 110, and of course the 5-year is 105. We also have a bailout feature, which is new, which isn't as critical on an income sale, but I think is absolutely sleep at night critical for the 5-year and the 7-year. And I'll show you what the bailout rate is set at. But essentially, the way that works is if we have a current cap of, say, 5.25%, like we do on the 5 and 7-year products, and we have a bailout cap set at 3%, all that means to the customer is that if down the road in the 5 or 7 years they have that product, we set the cap lower than the bailout cap of 3%, the client can get their money out within 30 days free of charge. So it just basically is a way to hold Athene accountable to make sure they're setting responsible rates and sustainable rates as well. And then, of course, 10% liquidity each and every year is important as well. I mentioned the doubler. Anyone selling Athene or Aviva back in the day over the last 10 years knows or is familiar with how the doubler works. But effectively, as a quick reminder, if you're receiving income and the client goes into a skilled nursing facility or a nursing home, we will double their income for up to 5 years or until their value hits 0. And there is no underwriting on this as well. It's very powerful and no additional charge either. Quick state approval map on the Ascent. You can see we're largely everywhere that we're selling. A couple of key states that are missing: California, Jersey, PA. We expect to have those states in the next 30 days, so stay tuned. We are not expecting a long wait for those states that are in white right now, which is good news. So we're virtually everywhere across the country, or will be in the next month. Again, here's just the strategies you can see there. We just talked about most of the time on the new ones there at the bottom. I do want to show you where we are rate-wise. A ton of numbers here. Not going to focus on the 10-year products anymore because we already covered those, I think, with the income riders. Take a look at the first two rows, though, Ascent Pro 5 and Ascent Pro 7. Amazing rates for a 5-year and a 7-year product, respectively. The BNP is 130% participation on both. We've got 5.25 point-to-point traditional caps on both, and you can see our bailout cap there in the middle is 3%, very competitive. You will not find a better rate on a 5 or a 7-year indexed annuity in the marketplace today. So we understand that income is important, but if you have any short-term money, look at the MIGA, look at our 5-year or 7-year products here. It's a great way to park those funds until the client determines what they're going to use those funds for. So Scott, with that, a lot of information to digest most certainly, but I wanted to make sure everyone had a good high-level view of what we just launched. If you want, take control back from me, Scott, and I'm happy to entertain any questions that people have.
Sorry, had my button muted there. Absolutely, Mac. I appreciate you going through all of that in such great detail. We did have a few questions come in as we're talking. If you do have any questions for myself or Mac, please type them in. We've got a few minutes here to go through them. As we go through these questions, I will launch our last poll of the day, and that's just asking if you'd like contracting information from Athene. If you're already contracted with Athene, go ahead and click no. If you're not, I'd highly encourage you to click yes. We will get you out some product information as well as licensing to make sure that you have these great products in your offering portfolio. That being said, let's get started on some questions here. Gentlemen asked if what the subscription for a agent website would be through our creative team. To be honest with you, we have several different options available to our producers. So my best response to that would be prices vary. Give Matt Neal a call in our office. He can certainly show you what those options are and what those costs are. Mr. Campbell, will the multi-year guarantee product accept qualified and non-qualified funds? Obviously not together, but
Of course, yeah. No, we can. Any one of our products in the whole portfolio can take either qualified or non-qualified money.
And I'm going to follow it up with a question that I'm sure we will follow. Is the MIGA RMD friendly?
It is. Yeah. Again, that goes without saying as well. All of our products in the portfolio, fixed or indexed, are RMD friendly. Yes.
Fantastic. Typical question, we get this a lot. If there is a copy of this training, we do record these sessions. We will email you out a copy of it if you would like us to. Mr. Campbell, what is the minimum age for an individual to add the rider or any of the riders onto the Ascent product?
Yeah, I believe we'll double check for you, but I believe it is 35. Up to I think 80, but I believe it's 35. We'll double check for you, just to be sure.
Absolutely,
it's either 35 or 40. I know that.
Absolutely, that sounds pretty similar to most of the Athene portfolio. So I'd agree with you. It's going to be somewhere in that range, and we will definitely get a firm answer on that for the individual that asked the question. How quickly can they turn on income with the Ascent product?
So it's a great question. I believe that income riders are ideal for deferring at least a little bit. Certainly, I think with this portfolio, it pays to wait a year because you're getting the full benefit of, number one, the income bonus of 15%, and then that 10%, which will be credited on the anniversary. So you're getting 25%. However, the client, if they want, they can turn on the income immediately. We can certainly do that. Again, depending on your client's situation, the best thing to do is run a quote, and determine what's best for them. But immediately, you can take the income. I would recommend waiting a year, but you don't have to.
Absolutely. I would agree with that to take advantage of everything. And from some scenarios that we've run here internally, they are competitive, with a 30-day wait. So, don't overlook the immediate income. It's definitely an option. But
so can I make one more comment, actually?
Sure. Go ahead.
On the income. I didn't mention this, but I think it's important to mention. Scott, I'm sorry. Can you? Okay, yeah. So we in the past have bracketed our when it comes to taking the income, depending on what the client is, determines what they get. Right? There's payout percentages that exist. We all are familiar with those if you're selling income in this industry. More often than not, carriers like us will have age 60 to 65, you get this certain percentage, age 66 to 70, this percentage. We actually increase our percent based 10 bips every year. So I think that's important because your client doesn't have to wait 4 years to get a bump in income. If they want to wait a year or 6 months, they have a birthday or a contract change, their payout percentage goes up 10 bips every year. So I think that it's a lot more flexible and therefore a lot more competitive as well.
I agree. The biggest thing as you all revamped the Ascent series was the increase in payout percentages, and then the annual step up really gave you guys a competitive advantage. So definitely something to think about there. All right, Mac, I got somebody that wants to put you in a corner, see if they can get you on record here. So I'm going to ask.
Sure.
This product will be approved in Virginia in the next 30 days?
That's what we're told. What we're told. Yes. Well, I'm going to ask you to call the folks at IMES just to double check that. But, our product approval folks said that we expect to have most, if not all states within 30 days. So this launched on April 11th. So I would anticipate Virginia would come probably in mid-May at the latest.
Fantastic. We look forward to adding on some new states. And I don't even think I have this. Do we have a ticker symbol for the BNP strategy, Mac?
So we do. What we'll do, and Scott mentioned follow-up after the webcast here. We actually have a great website set up. Let me see if I can just quickly go through the slides here on my screen and get you that symbol. while I'm thinking about it. Bear with me a second here. All right, here we go. If you have a pen handy, but we'll email this to you as well. The website, first of all, is madindex.bnpparibas, the S is silent on the end, .com. The ticker symbol is BNPI MAD5. So I've gone up and down that website that I just gave you. It is a fantastic site, a lot of great information, a lot of great materials. So my recommendation would be to get familiar with that, and any questions, just give us a call.
Absolutely. And I wrote that down. We'll make sure we get that out to everybody as well, so that they can see it. That's a nice thing about the nice thing about being transparent with those. So definitely helps to affirm everything we illustrate when we can see those rates.
It's a good point, Scott. I mean, listen, these uncapped indices have exploded the last several years, and we're starting to see more and more proprietary typed indices where investment banks are partnering with companies like us, like Allianz, like Nationwide, take your pick. What is often a challenge, though, for producers and clients is because they're exclusive to the company, there's not a lot of great material available to share. It's like they're a black box of information. We tried to reverse that trend with these indices, so we've got websites set up. We've got great flyers and marketing brochures for both to share with producers and clients. So, again, we're all about transparency, as Scott mentioned, and the last thing we want to do is develop an index, say, oh, it's amazing, and then have nothing to give you. So you're not going to see that with us.
No, you are not. So I definitely, when I call to follow up, or when Rob or Sam calls you all, I would definitely encourage you to request copies of those brochures, copy of those flyers. Go to the website, look at it. You need to believe in it so that you can help your clients to believe in it, and the sheer numbers that the BNP has shown will make you a believer. And the product overall, we've worked with the daily risk control with Athene for several years now, and it's performed very, very well. So I'm very excited about all of this. Definitely gives you some great options. That being said, I am now officially out of questions. So we're going to go ahead and sign off. As we say our goodbyes, I noticed a few of you haven't clicked yes or no on the polling question. If you would, please do so. We certainly appreciate everyone's participation there. Mac, I do want to thank you very, very much for your time. I know you're a busy man right now. A lot of things going on, great things going on with Athene. So thank you for taking an hour out of your day to join us. Any parting words, Mac?
Scott, just again, thanks for the opportunity, and to everyone on the phone listening, thank you for your time. Give us an opportunity. I think you'll like what you see, and have a great day, everybody.
All right. Thank you very much, Mac. And to everyone that took the time to join us, I know you all are busy. You could be out there selling. We do appreciate your time here with us today. Go out, have a great sales day, and I look forward to speaking with you all very, very soon. Thank you.